We are live. Hi, everyone. Canuck Clay Emo here in my office. It's a little messy, but I'm awaiting my lovely wife, Gail, my son, Sean, his girlfriend, Fernanda, and they're coming to the office, and then we will drive downtown together to watch tonight's game. And tonight's game is against, obviously, the Winnipeg Jets. And as we wait for a couple people to come in, maybe just write a comment on the side. Make sure that you guys can hear me okay. I'm on a different computer than usual. So maybe just say something real quick on the side so I know that you can indeed hear me. I know you can see it looks a little foggy. Maybe it's the bad camera on my computer, but we will survive for one day. This one's will be a quick half an hour one anyway. So welcome to anyone who's watching. Welcome to those of you who are planning to watch, or whether you're going to watch the game live like me or you're going to be watching on TV. Maybe say a quick hello on the side in the comments so I know that you can indeed hear me, and we'll go from there. Hello, Grace. Grace, can you hear me? Can you say yes or no? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and we will go from there. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking until okay, yes, awesome. Okay, so let's talk about tonight's game. Tonight, the Vancouver Canucks are playing against the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg is in third place. Thank you, Grace. In third place in a very competitive Central Division. And that Central Division obviously has Nashville up top, has Minnesota, has Winnipeg, has Colorado. A lot of tough teams in the Central Division. And then you look at our division. And our division, believe it or not, we are in the middle of a 5-game losing streak, and we are still in third place. You got San Jose and Calgary above us, and then below us you have teams like Edmonton, Arizona, Vegas. And of course, way at the bottom are the LA Kings, doing very, very, very poorly. So that's a positive, despite the Canucks' poor play. And we can hi guys, nice that everyone's saying hi. Despite the poor play, and when we talk about injuries, I don't think it's an excuse. It's an actual reason. Name me another team that has 6 starters, or basically 5 starters and 1 backup goalie, but in essence 6 roster players. That's 1/3 of your roster. You take away your 2 best wingers in Besser and Berchi, your top D-men in Edler, your third and fourth line centers in Sutter and Beagle, and then your backup goalie in Nilsson. Name me one other team that could do that. Well, I guess some teams could do it, but I don't know how well they would do. So for us to be still, perfectly 500, 10-10-2, 22 points in 22 games, and still in third place in our division, that's pretty good. And that's playing 14 out of the first 22, or 15 out of the first 22. I think it's 14 on the first 22 on the road, which is ridiculous. The Canucks come home for 2 home games, Montreal on Saturday and then Winnipeg tonight. And then they're off on the road for 3 more. They do the California trip for this week, and then they're home for a bit. But yeah, if they played, 14 games on the road and only 8 games at home or whatever it is, that means there's going to be that imbalance of 6 or 7 games we got to catch up throughout the season. So that's a good thing. So I take that as positives. The fact that the Canucks are 22 games in the season, missed the last 5 to 6 games without 6 regulars, so to speak, and they're still third place in the division. I take that as a positive. Some other positives that I tweeted out last night, and I basically said a tweet saying, here are some positive thoughts for the Canucks heading out of the weekend into the week, is Elias Pettersson looks dangerous once again. In the Montreal game, he was all over the ice in a good way. He scored that goal. He had a chance for 1 or 2 others, was playing strong defensively as always. And I love Pettersson's vision. I love the way, and when you watch him live, you really appreciate this, the way he circles through the neutral zone, always opening his body up and getting ready for a pass or to make a really good play or a dump in or whatever it may be. So Pettersson looks dangerous once again. I expect a big game from him tonight. Bo Horvat has no problem putting the team on his back, and that's been a good thing. Obviously captain leadership material there, captain potentialship. That potential is not even a word, captain potential. But I'll talk about Sam Gagner's his impact that he could have, and then I'll throw it over to you guys. So that's a good thing. The fact that Besser and Edler skated a bit today, that's a good thing. I don't know how soon they are to return to the lineup, but that's a good thing. And the fact that, like I said, 5 straight losses, yet still third place in the division. So let's talk about Sam Gagner, and then I'll get to some of your questions on the side there. With Gagner, I think it's a really smart and low-risk move for the Canucks. For those of you that subscribe to my videos, I've talked about Gagner for the past couple of days, ever since he got called up, because he brings veteran leadership. He knows the team. He knows his teammates. He knows the systems. He knows the city. He knows the coaching staff and the coaches. So I think it's a low-risk move. he could alleviate some of the pressure off Bo Horvat, a right-handed centerman taking some draws in the defensive zone. Horvat's been playing 22, 23 minutes a game, which is a lot. It's good. He can handle these as a young 23-year-old, but you can't have him playing those types of minutes. Those are defenseman type minutes. You can't have forwards playing those types of minutes all season. So it'll give Horvat a bit of a break, especially on the defensive end. When it comes to face-off, when it comes to matchups, and whatever it may be. I think it's great that Gagner's here. He can play in the middle. He can play on the wing, kind of versatile like Granlund that way. But most importantly, I think he just starts to recalibrate the forwards a little bit with Besser, Berchi, Sutter, Beagle all out. Everyone's been kind of playing maybe one line too high or a couple spots higher than they're used to. So maybe adding a veteran player like Gagner. Remember, Gagner had a 50-point season before. 2 seasons ago in Columbus, he had 18 goals and 32 assists. So we know that he can find the net. We know that he can set up players. So maybe this year, he didn't get to play with the Swedes much last year. So hasn't really played with a lot of really talented creative players. Maybe he gets some looks with Horvat, even though they're both centers. Maybe he gets a couple shifts with Pettersson. Maybe he plays with Horvat and Pettersson on the power play. And that's the other thing I think that Gagner, he's not going to kill penalties, but he can be a power play presence. That's where he got a lot of his points in Columbus 2 seasons ago. So for all those reasons, I think it's a good move. It's a low-risk move. And if Gagner performs well and it helps the Canucks with a bit of their scoring slump, their scoring troubles, I could see him sticking around to the end of the year because young guys like Gaudette, you can still put them down in the minors without losing them to waivers because they're only in the first year or two. So depending on the way that Besser and Berchi recover, if there's any other injuries, I see Sam Gagner sticking around for a little bit, and you can sit guys like Mott and Leipzig and Archibald and Gauntz and Gaudette. So there's 5 guys right there. In Gauntz, Gaudette, Archibald, Mott, and Gauntz. Maybe not so much Mott. He's played well, but the other 4 guys, you could say that they've been relatively expendable so far this season. So that's my case for Sam Gagner. Let's see how he does tonight. I would love for him to break out. And like I tweeted about earlier, I expect a good game from him. Not good enough where I'm going to drop some guy to pick him up in my fantasy pool, but it would be great for the team if Sam Gagner indeed produces some offense. All right, let's go through some of your comments here. Hey, Clay, we can hear you. Awesome. Hello. Hopefully win tonight in Sweet California. Yeah, that'd be amazing if we beat a very strong Winnipeg Jets team. I'll go through some of their stats in a second. But to beat a strong Winnipeg Jets team, give us some confidence going into California. But the cool thing is that California trip is not as daunting. It's not as intimidating as it used to be. I remember years where we would go and we get beat up by the Kings and beat up by the Ducks and outskated by the Sharks. By standings, we are technically only worse than the Sharks. We are technically better than Anaheim and LA. So I don't know what you consider a successful road trip. A sweep, maybe not, but maybe 4 out of 6 points, or the bare minimum 3 out of 6 points. Maybe that's a successful road trip. But when you look at 3 games, you can say 2 out of 3 games if you win. That's a successful road trip. Clay, do you think there? Hey, Alexander, do you think there will be a season where our top players don't get injured at all during the season? I'd love to think that, but I don't think that's realistic. Whether it's travel, whether it's fluke, whether it's the Vancouver air, whatever it may be. No, I don't think there'll be a season where our top players don't get injured. It seems to be the nature of the beast. And you look at every year in the past 5 or 6 years, ever since those deep playoff runs, we haven't had much luck with health. And we've already seen it this year with Besser and Pettersson and Edler and Tanev all being out for periods of time. Last year, Horvat and Besser were out, and Tanev and Edler. Well, same guys. So, do I wish it would happen? Yes. Do I think it'll happen? No. I think that's just the nature. And I'm sure every other team that deals with injuries as well, we just fall these injuries more because it's our team. How many faceoffs tonight for Bo? Thinking he's giving Sutter and Beagle some extra vitamin. Yes, Rob. I think Horvat definitely wants Sutter and Beagle to come back. But as I just finished talking about with Sam Gagner joining, maybe Gagner takes 5 to 6 to 7 faceoffs that Bo would have usually taken, anything in the defensive zone, anything on Gagner's strong side. So let's see what happens. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see what type of faceoff stats Bo has at the end of the game. Not so much percentage. That shouldn't change, right? But what should change is the sheer number of faceoffs he's taken and overall trickle-down effect, snowball effect. Hopefully he'll be well-rested, especially for that third period when it may be a tight game and we may need to ride him a little bit. How important do you think discipline is tonight, especially playing against Laine on the power play? That is a great question, Matt Strafe-Stopia. I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right, but I think you just nailed one of the fundamental keys on the head. Is I'm just looking at it right now. Winnipeg's power play, surprise, surprise, is number 1 in the league. They're scoring on 1/3 of their chances, 33.3%. That's ridiculous. That's, a good power play is 20%. A really good power play is 25% and over. And I'm looking right now, half the league has power plays that are 20% or higher. 15 teams, that is. The Canucks are just below that. They're at 19.4, but Winnipeg is 33.3. So that is very dangerous. Doing simple math, that means out of every 3 power play chances, they're going to score once. That's not good. That's very scary. So I think the Canucks will have to play discipline tonight because that power play is nuts, with Wheeler, Laine, Bufflin, and Scheifele, of course. And then I guess they could have Ehlers out there, or Little, or Connor, whoever it may be. So a good power play unit, much like Washington's, also very strong. And I think Vancouver can rival that, but that's if we have everyone back. And that's, of course, Besser, Pettersson, Horvat, the triangle, Berchi or Gagner in the middle, and then someone like Alex Edler when he's – so, if we're worried about the power play, the fact that it's fallen to 19.4%, remember, 3/5 of our first power play unit are missing, right? Brock Besser, Sven Berchi, and Alex Edler. And they've replaced those guys mostly with Gaudette, Goldobin, and Pouliot. Last game, we saw Virtanen on the top power play a little bit. We've seen Ben Hutton on the first power play unit, and that resulted in Pettersson's one-timer goal. So maybe that's something we see tonight as well. Yeah, that'd be cool, actually, if we see actually both Hutton and Gagner on the first power play unit, give a bit of a wrinkle. And, of course, you have Horvat and Pettersson, and maybe that other winger becomes a Gaudette on that side, or a Virtanen, or a Goldobin. We shall see. Alexander, every season it's the same thing. Edler is trying to get injured. There's needs to stop if the Canucks want to win games. I agree. Todd Stewart, should we bring up Juolevi and scratch Michael Del Zotto? Del Zotto had a decent game. I know a lot of people are on his case because of that horrible late penalty on Kotkaniemi. I can barely say that guy's name, leading obviously to Montreal's game-winning goal. But up until then, Del Zotto had a goal. He played well, but yeah, unfortunately, kind of showed why in that brief error, mental lapse, that mental error, it cost the Canucks 2 points, or at least 1 point for sure. Do I see Juolevi coming up? Utica is being ravaged by injuries, more so on the forwards than the D. On the D, yeah, I see him coming up, but I don't see him coming up soon. Right now, I think I see the Canucks going with these 6 D-men. You still have Biega waiting if you need to bring him in. And then Alex Edler is going to come back in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it sounds like. So that's Edler who would play ahead of Juolevi. You could argue Biega would play ahead of Juolevi. So that's still 8 guys. Maybe it'll take one more injury for Juolevi to get a look. But I definitely think the Canucks are fully intending both him and Quinn Hughes to be here next year. So then what happens for the other spot? Is it Ben Hutton? Is it Alex Edler? If Edler's gone, is it another veteran? So that's something to keep an eye on. If we have Hughes and Juolevi as 2 of your left-handed defensemen, you're going to need at least 1, if not 2 more. Is that Hutton, Edler, or Hutton and a combination of someone else? Edler, someone else, and maybe Hutton's gone. We shall see. But yeah, no, do I think, should we bring him up? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen until after Christmas. Adding to the above, what do you see happening with Juolevi this year, next year? Yeah, I kind of just talked about that. I see Juolevi starting the season with the team next season. I see him getting some spot duty in this winter and the spring, but I don't see him being a regular, especially when you still have, you could argue, 8 blue liners under contract, including Biega and Del Zotto, of course. Juolevi for Pouliot, I would love that. I don't see it, but there's a reason why we signed Pouliot to only a 1-year contract, right? He's good as gone at the end of the season, I think, unless he does something remarkable with his game, turns it around in the last 2/3 of the season. Let's hope for a good game, Carter. Yeah, I agree. Let's hope for a good game. Gee, it's funny. Tonight, I'm not in my regular seats. I sold those seats. And tonight was actually the seats that I got when I bought this jersey, this beautiful Pettersson jersey. I took advantage of that van-based deal where you get a jersey and 2 tickets and a bunch of food vouchers. And my 2 tickets I chose for tonight's game. So it was going to be me and my son, Sean. He's at Canuck_Sean on Twitter. So it was going to be Sean and me. And then a parent from our school community basically gave me his tickets for really cheap tonight. So now I got 2 more. So basically Gil and I are taking the nice seats. Sean and his girlfriend, Fernanda, are coming tonight as well. So it's the 4 of us, double date. I don't know if it's a double date if you sit at 8 sections apart from each other, but still the 4 of us will be going to the game. They're coming to pick me up, or no, they're driving their car here, and then I'll drive my car to the game in about 20 minutes or so. But what's really funny is, so 4 of us will be at the game, but not even in my regular seats. But the ironic thing is the seats that my church family, my friends, give us are actually in the same section as mine. They're in section 319. So I sold my tickets to a buddy. He's in my seats in row 13. Gil and I are sitting in row 6, which is the very front row of this section because it's above the wheelchair section. So it's amazing seats, actually, the ones that in essence I paid only a couple bucks for. So all to say, I'm there at the game tonight. Was planning to be in section 327 with the van base tickets, but now Sean's taking that with Fernanda, and then Gail and I are back in our regular section in 319, but in some nicer seats than regular. Okay, that was a big, long 2-minute discussion for a bunch of nothing, just to say that, yeah, I'm going to the game with my wife, Gail, and Sean and his girlfriend, Fernando, will be there as well. Okay, back to questions. The Canucks need more depth so they can handle the injuries they get every season. Yeah, Alexander, they bring that up at the start of every season, and they do their best to address it. And maybe we're seeing that this year they have more talent and they are deeper. That's why they haven't completely fallen off the rails with the injuries this year. Siamese Dreams was playing NHL last week and noticed someone with your last name in the WHL, I believe. Do you have a relative who plays junior or just a coincidence? Siamese, I don't know if you're the same guy or same person, I should say, who commented on my YouTube video. Can you just leave a comment below if that was indeed you? And I'm sorry I haven't responded yet today. But yeah, my cousin Dusty Emo, played professional hockey. He actually started ahead of Olaf Kolzig, the Washington Capitals goalie in New West. He started ahead of Jamie McLennan in Lethbridge, and then he ended up playing for the New West Bruins, but did not end up getting drafted or playing on a pro hockey team. However, Dusty played for Japan in the 1998 Olympics. He was the starting goalie for Japan, which is cool. Really cool about the story about Dusty. I think he made 40 saves against Belarus, and Wayne Gretzky for Team Canada was watching that game and came down and greeted Dusty after the match. So that was pretty cool. So my first cousin Dusty, so his dad, my dad, both deceased now. They're brothers. So Dusty and I are first cousins. Dusty is indeed a former professional goaltender. He's currently the goaltending coach for the LA Kings farm affiliate called the Ontario Reign. So he's worked with Jack Campbell and Peter Budaj and those guys. And 2 years ago, he was the goaltending coach for the Winnipeg Jets farm team, the Ice Caps. I can't remember, Fredericton or Moncton or something like that. Regardless, so Dusty has worked with Connor Hellebuyck. He has worked with Michael Hutchinson. And that's one of the big reasons why I like the Winnipeg Jets, actually, is because Dusty was in their organization and then and then he coached there and worked with Hellebuyck. You might also recognize the Emo last name, not because of me or because of Dusty. Dusty's son Jonah is also a minor league goalie. He's not signed to a pro contract right now, but they made history when they're the first goaltending tandem, the first father-son goaltending tandem. This made news about 2 years ago. You guys might remember this. They suited up for the Ontario Reign, the LA Kings farm team, because Jonathan Quick was injured, and I think Peter Budaj was injured, and then Jack Campbell had to be pulled up to the main team from Ontario, and then a fourth guy had to get pulled up to the main team. So basically all four of the pro goalies were up there, and then basically they had to sign Jonah, Dusty's son, and then they signed Dusty to be his backup for one day. So there was Jonah starting the game for the Ontario Reign with his 46-year-old dad at the time. He's 48 now. His 46-year-old dad, Dusty, sitting on the bench. So I don't know if you guys remember that story from 2 years ago, but it made NHL, TSN, ESPN, all the big networks, because it was pretty cool that Dusty, my first cousin, and his son Jonah, i.e. my first cousin once removed, suited up for the Ontario Reign, father and son tandem. Dusty on the bench, Jonah playing. Thank God Jonah didn't get hurt, because I don't know how well Dusty would have done playing, in that pro game. So yes, to answer your question, that was a long story, a long answer, but I got a few minutes to kill. But yes, Siamese Dreams, that was indeed my cousin Dusty, who's probably in the NHL game with the WHL team. So it's kind of cool. Cody, do you think we see Dahlin up at some point? I think that's less obvious than Juolevi. I do think we see Juolevi at the, by the end of the season. Dahlin, I'm not so sure. I don't think there's any rush for him. As much as it'd be nice to see him play with Pettersson, but Dahlin didn't show much during the preseason. And I could see him doing kind of like a Jake Virtanen did last season or 2 years ago, where he spends basically almost the entire year in the minors, and then he'll be ready to go next year. I see him being a top six forward. I see a top six eventually. Bo, Brock, Elias Pettersson, Jonathan Dahlin, and then maybe someone like a Berchi, and then a Goldobin or Virtanen even out there. So I do think Dahlin will make the team next year, but I'm not convinced that we'll see him by the end of the season. It'd be nice to see it. Maybe the Canucks are out of a playoff spot. They'll give him a chance, depending on trades and stuff, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Better player, Beagle or Sutter? By contract and by pay, it is Sutter. But Beagle does have a Stanley Cup. I do like Beagle's penalty killing. I do like Sutter. I think Sutter has more offensive upside. So if I had to pick one, I'd say Sutter by a hair over Jay Beagle. I always notice Jake trying to create scoring chances on his own. Be nice to see him try and find the soft areas. Let Pettersson create and set that nice shot of Jake's up. Yeah, that's a good point. Rob, I've talked a lot about how much I love Virtanen. I've always liked him. He brings a really neat combination of size, of course, speed. He skates really well for a guy his size. He's got a wicked shot. But overall, I think his hockey IQ isn't as good as a Pettersson or Horvat. He's getting there. I've seen him starting to make more plays, but still, yes, he loves rushing in, and sometimes he doesn't make the best zone entries or the best decisions when he has the puck on a stick. I too would love to see him give the puck up to a Pettersson or Horvat, whoever he's playing with, find a soft spot where he can release that wicked wrist shot. However, as soon as I say that, I do know that some of his goals have come off the rush down the side, and even a couple of his goals have come from wrist shots, hard shots from beyond the face-off circle where he catches goalies, off guards. But yes, I'd like to. He doesn't have the best one-timer compared to Pettersson or Besser, but he does have a nice wrist shot, a nice snapshot. I'd love to see him move into those soft areas and let himself be set up for those. So great point. I agree with you completely, Rob. Siamese, that was me. Thanks for the answer. You're most welcome. Todd, will we see Quinn Hughes play as a Canuck this year? Sign him after his NCAA season. Thank you. Yeah, I do believe we'll see Quinn Hughes. God forbid his Michigan team gets knocked out early, but even if they go the distance or very close to the distance, I still see him playing 4, 5, 6 games at the end of the year, much like Besser did 3 seasons ago, much like Adam Gaudette did last season. I see the same thing happening to Quinn Hughes. So imagine, just imagine this. Imagine if the Canucks are fighting for a wild card spot at the end of March, and then they bring Quinn Hughes up for the last 2 weeks of the season, and he's the one that pushes them into the playoffs. Wouldn't that be a cool story? Or imagine if he's the one that helps them win a playoff round. That would be amazing. And then maybe this season we'll actually see a first unit power play unit of Quinn Hughes, Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, Elias Pettersson, and then like a Sven Baertschi or Nikolai Golovin or Sam Gagner. That would be pretty cool. And then we're only 1 year away from having another powerful forward on that power play unit. So we shall see. But yes, I do anticipate Quinn Hughes playing. And I think Juolevi will play. I think Hughes will play maybe at the same time, but I don't think Dahlin will play. That's just my gut feeling. I could be joined, I could be proven very wrong as usual. Samuel, just joined the chat. How's your day been, Clay? Samuel, thanks for asking. It's been great. I had a good day at work. That's the messy. So I work for the Catholic Archdiocese of Vancouver. Many of you know this is my office, not the cleanest ever, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm just waiting for my family. I'm going to pop off in about 10 minutes and then go down, meet my family, and we're going to head to the game. Thank you for asking. But yeah, it's been a great day, and I'm very excited to go to tonight's game. Call up Biega, put Pouliot down in Utica. Yeah, Idris. Biega's actually already up, so all they have to do is actually swap him, put him in, and then pull Pouliot out because Edler's on the injured list right now. So you don't even have to send Pouliot down. You can put Biega in. I like Biega's game. He's not a lot of offensive upside, but certainly works hard. They call him a bulldog for a reason. Plays very well in the corners. Very good at retrieving pucks. So we'll see. We'll see. I think there's not much difference between Pouliot and Biega right now, to be honest with you. How many softies will Markstrom let in? He never gets his body in front of the puck. I don't know. Yeah, I think Markstrom had a good game against Montreal. He had a poor game the game before that when they were winding up the road trip. I think it was against Minnesota. Not letting in as many softies as he did last season, but you're never 100% confident with Markstrom in net. Maybe you're 90% or 95%, but you certainly don't have the same confidence if we said at Price or Hellebuck in net. So, I want to be positive. I don't think he'll let in any softies, but I hope I'm not proven wrong. Markey's actually been really good when they don't work him too hard. Yeah, I agree, John. That's kind of my point. And I think it's been exasperated or it's been exaggerated or exposed because Nilsson is not on the bench ready to come in, on a whim. So hopefully, it's a trickle-down effect, right? Or a pushing up effect. As Nilsson gets better, then he'll be able to spell off Markstrom. But because he's not better, then now you're looking at Bachman with Demko out. And obviously we saw Bachman wasn't ready or didn't have the best luck when he played in his game last week. Actually, no, of course it was Bachman who played against Minnesota. So I guess Markstrom's soft goal was against the Islanders. The Chinner. What is the deal with Besser and Baertschi out for a long time with no update? Yeah, it sounds like Besser will come back before Baertschi. Besser skated today before the practice, tried out, his groin. You never want to rush something like that back. And as I've mentioned many times, I'd much rather have Besser take 2, 3, 4 weeks now and make sure he's 100% rather than 2 games in, then 2 games out because he tweaked it, or 3 games in, then 2 games out. That doesn't make sense. Rest him until he's ready to go and then make sure that he's completely healthy. But Berchi's a little scary. I remember when he got hit in the head, and remember he basically yelled at the other player saying, "Give your effing head a shake" or whatever, and pointing to his head. So Berchi's been out with concussion, and as we know, that could take a while, and you never want to rush him back. Just like Demko's just looking to skate at the play at the end of this week after being out for 2 months. I've had one concussion myself. It's a very scary thing. I'm sure many of you, those of you that play sports or maybe by freak accident on the house, many of you had concussions before. You certainly don't want to rush it back. But yeah, obviously our two best wingers out, Besser and Berchi. It's not great. Do you think Dahlin and Elias will play together when Dahlin makes the NHL? Yeah, I do. Alexander, I see no reason why not to try it. Idris, Bo Horvat is hardest worker. Great job for Bo. Yep, he's showing that he's definitely captain material, and he's really put the team on his shoulders. Tied with Elias Pettersson for the team lead, for the not the league lead, for the team lead in points, 18 points. Of course, Horvat's done it in 22 games, where Pettersson's only done it in 16 games. All right, a few more. We're gonna whip through these because I gotta get off in the next 5 minutes. Do you think Besser will play on this upcoming road trip? If he just started skating now, but it hasn't had a full practice, I don't think he'll play in the first game, but he could draw in near the end of the road trip, especially if obviously he's going to travel with the team. So yeah, that'd be a nice bonus if Besser plays. Do I think he will? If I was a betting man, I'd say yes. The last game of the road trip, but who knows? Here we go. Peyton Krebs or Byram, good picks, if not Jack Hughes. Yeah, I probably just butchered his name. But yeah, I'm starting to hear, I'm not the most well-versed when it comes to prospects, but I'm certainly aware of some of the names this year. And as the Canucks play well and likely not going to be a lottery team, at least not right now, yeah, we can kind of end the discussion about Jack Hughes, or at least it would be prudent to look at other players. And yes, I believe that this draft class is quite strong as well. But regardless if it's strong or not, I'm really confident. You look at, Benning's picks in the past few years, right? Hughes, Pettersson, Brock Besser late, Levy, Jerry still out, but I'm still confident in him. Those are some really good picks. So I'm confident that no matter where we pick, we'll get a good player. Suts back. Suts back. He takes pressure off of Horvat. Maybe that's we need Suts back, which in turn takes pressure off Pettersson because Horvat can't rely on for his offense. Yeah. Obviously with any depth player that comes in, it pushes everyone back to their regular spots and will normalize the minutes a little bit. Yeah, let Horvat and Pettersson worry about the offense. Look Sutter and Beagle when healthy and worry about the defense. Enjoy the game tonight. Thanks, Rob. Todd, you do a great job, Clay, listening to you right now at work, and you help me get through the workday. Thanks. Todd, thanks for the kind words. Long-time season ticket holder. I go to a lot of games. I like talking. I've never met a microphone or a computer or an iPhone that I didn't like, but I think I like to think that I bring a proper semblance of both knowledge and being able to articulate it, that knowledge of the game, having played not at a high level, but understanding the game, and really just not being overly negative, being a very positive fan, but a realistic fan as well. But I'll never be on team TANK. I can't even say the word. And I think I'm a nice fodder. I'm a nice balance to a lot of the negativity that you see on Canucks Twitter. That's why I'm a founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. No debate about the positivity. You can debate all you want about the good looking. Okay, last ones. Who's your pick to win the Cup this year? Oh, that's a good question. Nashville looks strong. I'd love to see a Winnipeg-Toronto final, quite frankly. But right now, I could see it being Nashville or Winnipeg, one of the central teams. And, Toronto or Tampa again. It could be very similar to the same. Well, the Final Four, I guess, was Vegas and Washington and Tampa and Winnipeg. Sorry, Vegas and Nashville and Tampa and Winnipeg. So try that again. See, I'm getting confused. I know the last year's final was Washington and Tampa, Vegas and Nashville, and I could see a similar thing, maybe Winnipeg instead of Nashville. It's crazy that both those teams are in the same division, and maybe it's Toronto instead of Tampa in that Final Four. But I could see any of those four, emerging. But maybe it's Nashville or Winnipeg's turn this year. Lastly, ready to cheer on Vegas to beat Calgary? Yes, Louis. You guys go. Knock Calgary down a bit. Louis, Vegas is still below us in the standings. Basically, I don't like to cheer for any Pacific team when they're playing against another Pacific team, because that means it's a potential for a 3-point game, and that means someone's going to get 2 points for sure. But if I choose the lesser two evils, Vegas is not even evil for me. Louis, I'm with you. Go Vegas. Beat those Calgary guys. Do you think Petey and Bo can be our future Zetterberg, Datsuk 1-2 center punch? Obviously not compared to them, but I see similarities in their style. Absolutely, yes. I think we have our 1-2 punch to go for many years. Canucks FA, hi. Wish you invited me to the game. Thanks, Alexander. I will return the favor eventually, but just not tonight, because my wife and my son have to take precedence. Well, basically, my wife has to take precedence if I want to have a pleasant night when I go home tonight. It was Vegas and Winnipeg. Yeah. Oh, that's right. It wasn't Vegas and Nashville because Winnipeg beat Nashville. Thank you. How quickly I forget. Thank you for that correction, Louis. Obviously, I'm getting tired. I'm getting excited about tonight's game. And go Canucks, go Canucks, go Canucks, go. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. We hit the half-an-hour mark. I kind of stumbled into the finish line there. So now I know it was Vegas, Winnipeg, Washington, and Tampa. That's who the Final Four was. If I was to predict this year, I think it's going to be Nashville and San Jose. Sorry, Louis. And Toronto and, gosh, maybe it's Washington once again. But we've got a lot of time to worry about that. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to go wait for my family now, head to the game. Won't do a post-game recap tonight, but I will do something first thing tomorrow morning. So thanks again. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Like this video if you'd like to. You know, it's at 4 likes right now. I'm not a hog or begging for likes, but let's bump that up to maybe if it's up to 10 by the time I log off in 30. Oh, there's one in 30 seconds. I appreciate it. Well, it doesn't matter to me, actually, as long as you don't dislike this video. How's that? So thanks again for watching. Enjoy the game, whether you're going or whether you are watching on TV. I'll be tweeting from the game until my wife tells me to put my phone away, and then we'll see what happens. So thanks again for watching. Have a great night. God bless, and go Canucks go.